It's January the 2nd, 2024, and I'm going to show you how to bake a Heidi Loaf, which is a wholemeal loaf with lots of extras. And what we need is strong wholemeal flour, which is in that container, caraway seeds, jumbo oats, very important, flax seeds, some salt, yeast of course, mixed seeds which is in there, dark sugar, some oil, a scoop, scales and a good sized bowl. The first thing we're going to weigh is yeast, and I'm using easy bake yeast. You can use instant yeast, it's the easiest one to use. And I'm going to do it in grams, everything's going to be in grams. So 7 grams of yeast. There we go. Get that ready. And we're going to get some salt. Remember to zero the scale. 5 grams of salt. Table salt is fine. Yep. And the next thing we're going to do is get some water. Warm water, that's water that you can put your finger in without burning yourself. Yep, that's fine. And what we need is 305 water. That's too much. Let me just pour some out. There, I can top it up. 305 grams is the same. Perfect. And the next thing we're going to do is some sugar. Now for this, I use dark sugar. Obviously, if you're doing a white loaf, you use white sugar. A good heaped amount. Get a wooden spoon and mix it in. That helps the yeast. And dissolve it in the water. Next you add the yeast that I've weighed up and mix that in too. Some people just add it direct, but I like to mix it in the water first.
Why do you like to do that?
It's more evenly distributed. There we go. And some oil. Now I never usually measure the oil, I just usually put a dollop in. But today I'm going to measure it. That big one is a tablespoon. So let's see. Sunflower oil. Okay. 4 tablespoonfuls of oil. Next thing we want is the flour. You see that?
Slim fast flour.
Strong wholemeal flour. That means it's high in protein and gluten. And I've got a nice scoop to do it with. 500 grams. Whenever you're working with flour, you always spill some. You can't help it. That's just the way it is.
Do you not sieve the flour?
No, no. For some recipes you do, but not for bread.
How come?
Doesn't need sieving. It just makes it finer, that's all. And especially with the wholemeal, you're not looking particularly for fine. You want a nice farmhousey thing, don't you? Okay. Next you add the salt. You have to keep the salt and yeast separate because the salt will kill the yeast. So I'll spread the flour a bit about and then I'll sprinkle the salt on it. See that? That's the salt done. Now we're going to add all the topping stuff. Caraway seeds. Now I usually just add what I think. So this is a teaspoon. So let's have a look at a teaspoon, see if it's enough. No. Yeah, 4 teaspoons of caraway seeds. Oats.
How long have you been doing this particular one, Dad?
Years.
Years.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you the weight of the oats I'm putting in. That's about right. So I'd say 15 grams of oats. Flaxseed is next.
That's the poopy ingredient.
It's the ingredient for consistency. So what's that? That's half a teaspoon. That's 1 teaspoon. 2 teaspoons of milled flaxseed. Next is seeds. These are pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. And I'm just going to throw some in. I've never that amount. See that? Chuck it in. So you can see how much I put in. You see that? Right, that's everything. So now what you do is you make space, don't need the scale anymore, and you get your hand in. And you mix it about. You keep mixing it so it comes together. Now, bread making depends on lots of different things. The flour's never the same twice. Might come from a different farm, different country. Water's never the same twice. The temperature is never the same twice. The air pressure is never the same twice. It all makes a difference. If you're making it in the summer or the winter, it's different. Can you see how it's coming together? So when you do this, you get to feel it. That's why I like doing it with my hands, not in a machine, because you can feel whether it needs a bit more flour or whether it needs a bit more water. This is feeling quite good at the moment. Now, you don't have to film the whole kneading. I'll just show you my kneading technique. And what you need to do is to knead it for 10 minutes. Okay, so now it's together like that, right? It's in a ball. It's not that sticky anymore, see? It doesn't come away. You always get some on your hands, but can you see? It's not sticking to my other hand, not coming off. So, next we'll be kneading, and we'll do that in a minute. Okay, now we're going to do the kneading. Now, when you're kneading, you need a dry surface. And I have my oil, if I need it, but I'm going to use it later. But leave the top of the oil off. So if your hands are sticky, you don't mess up the bottle. And have some water in case you need water. And a bit of flour in case you need flour. You can tell when. So this is how you knead. Push it away from you and roll it back. And you do this for 10 minutes. Can you see how I'm pushing it away, rolling it back, moving it round? That's it. There are lots of different styles of kneading, but this is the one that I like best. And this is feeling that it's wet enough and it's got the right amount of flour in. It's stretching nicely. What this does is it works the gluten, and the gluten is what helps to keep the bread together, holds it together. The yeast makes it rise. Yeast needs warmth to rise, and previously I put the oven light on in the oven to act as my proofing cupboard. You can buy proper ones, but I just use the oven with the light on, and that usually is warm enough. In the summer when it's warm, you don't need to do that, but you absolutely need to do it in the winter, or it'll take forever to rise. Okay, we'll come back in a minute when I've finished kneading. Okay, so we're coming up to 10 minutes, and you can see how the dough's changed. You can feel it with your hands. That's an important bit to do, because that's where you put the love in, like Heidi says. Doing wholemeal dough is much more difficult than doing white dough. It's harder to push, especially with all the added ingredients that this has got in here. Right, so you make a ball out of it, just roll it around. And remember I said leave the top off the flour, because my hands are a little sticky. I don't want to mess the bottle up. Put a bit in your hand, like so, and you wipe it all over like that. You put it in a bowl, and you cover it, and then in a moment I'm going to put it in the oven. So you remember I put the oven light on, so through this process the oven should be warm enough. I'm going to place it in the oven, close the door, set the timer for 45 minutes. And in 45 minutes that should be risen enough for me to put it in the tin and then rise it again. That's 45 minutes. See you in 45 minutes. Now the time's gone by to get the bread out of the proving oven, but first of all we have to grease the tin. This is my favourite tin. It's a bit old and I'd love a new one like it, but I can't find one. So you put some oil in and you slosh it around inside with your brush. That's probably a bit much, but it doesn't matter. Right, and then next we're going to get it out the oven. Okay, here we go. It's risen quite nicely, see? Basically just take it out the bowl and bring it over here. Push it out, but not too much, because you don't want to knock all the air out. And you fold from the top in, squash the seams, and from the top, the bottom back over, like that. Press the seams, squish the ends a bit. Then what we're going to do is roll it like a sausage. So towards me, push in, towards me, push in, towards me, pinch it. So that's the seam at the bottom, and there's the rolls on the side. I'll just do it like that, pinch the sides underneath, and that one, and then roll it until it's the length of the tin, whatever tin you're using. That's about right. Just knock the ends in, a bit longer, put it in the tin, put your tin tail back on, and back into the oven. The light's still on, you do it quick to keep the warmth in, and this time we're going to set for an hour. It's going to rise for an hour. There we go, 1 hour. See you in an hour. Okay, an hour's gone by. I've got the bread rising in the oven. So I'm going to take it out. That's what it looks like. It's risen to just above the tin. And I'm going to now put the oven on, leave that out, and put the oven on for 10 minutes on gas mark 7. Make sure it's on. There we go. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes has gone by. The oven is up to temperature. Take the tea towel off. What we're going to do first is we're going to slash it with this thing, which is called a lame or a larm. It's a razor blade. What it helps is it helps with oven spring, and also it stops the bread exploding randomly where it wants to, because when the gases start rising when it's heated, it wants to come out somewhere. So you have to be very confident when you do this. Give it a good slash like that. Into the oven. And a quick spray with cold water. The reason you spray it is to try and delay the crust formation. Commercial bakers bake with steam for the first part. It stops the crust forming, which means you get a better oven spring. It rises. So just a quick squirt helps a little. Okay, see you in 35 minutes. I'm going to set 35 minutes now.
And what temperature is it?
That's at number 7. There we go, 35 minutes.
Oh, I'm getting excited.
Good. See you in 35 minutes. Okay, an hour's gone by. No, sorry, 35 minutes has gone by. I'm going to take it out and put it back in again, just to crisp it off around the bottom a bit. For 3 minutes. Okay, set it for 3 minutes. See you in 3 minutes. Okay, the 3 minutes is up. Turn it off. Turn the oven off. Save some gas. There we go. And I always spray it. It gives it a nice sheen on top. And what you want is that underneath.
Wow, it smells amazing.
And you can see the steam coming off it. That's it. Now you have to let it cool before you eat it. This is not as risen as much as I would be rising a white loaf or a mix wholemeal and white, because Heidi likes it intense and it's got loads of extra toppings inside it, so it restricts the height. But that's pretty good height for this loaf.
Any final thoughts?
That's it. And I love making bread, and I always say the smell of baking bread goes all the way to heaven.
When did you start baking?
When did I start? Years ago now. Actually, I got the idea to start baking when I visited my dad and when he was retired. And he always liked cooking and making things, and he started baking. I thought, oh, maybe I'll have a go at that. And over the years, you learn more and more and you refine your techniques, like with the sourdough loaves. I've got the sourdough loaves pretty good now. I don't think I could do them any better in a home oven than I do them now. But that's a whole different technique.
And you were saying as well that it's good for like be meditation or good for your soul to bake bread.
It's very good for your soul because it connects you to all the millions of people, to the very beginning of when people lived on the earth. So many people have baked bread all around the world, all different kinds of breads, yeast ones, sourdough ones, flat loaves, flat breads, all different recipes, but all people, all races, all nations eat bread. Some people over the centuries, that was their main source of protein, bread.
What's your favourite?
Sourdough.
Yeah.
Although I often eat this, I bake this for myself, this wholemeal, but I don't put so much extras in it, and I don't put so much flaxseed in that Heidi likes, for various reasons.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, enjoy the bread.
Forever.
Bye.
Bye, love you.